Watch as I apply pressure to the stick. I am putting in work, and it slowly bends. It slowly bends. But at some point, things will start to fracture. At what point did the stick break? Was it the millisecond the first shard split? Or was it the second shard or the third? Or was it in the 10 seconds as I was applying pressure? Because it would not be possible for the stick to break if I hadn't applied the pressure to bend. Is the breaking a process? Is it a flow? Or is it the moment of fracture? In the novel The Sun Also Rises, Ernest Hemingway's character was asked how did he become bankrupt? And he responded 2 ways: gradually and then suddenly. This is a fundamental process of life, of reality, that things will creep forward slowly, seemingly without progress, and then, as if an explosion, things lock into place and it blooms, the suddenly, the progress, the now. An aeroplane uses hydrodynamic, fluidodynamic principles in order to gain lift. And as it's running down the runway, it's heavy, it doesn't want to go. The entire earth is pulling it down. And as these fluid dynamical effects build upon the wings, there is a certain point in which the weight and the uplift becomes balanced, and a little more it takes off. It required a vast amount of energy and a vast amount of speed, hurtling hundreds and hundreds of meters in order to get that lift. But when it happens, it soars, it flies, and it doesn't look back. Imagine an ice cube. It's at -5 degrees, and you slowly apply heat to it. At -1, it remains an ice cube, and at 0, it is still an ice cube. But 0.1 degree Celsius higher, it melts, it becomes liquid. It is no longer ice. It has changed form suddenly. And none of that would have happened without the gradual heating of the cube. There is a plant called Chinese bamboo.
Jesus, I don't want to die! Please help me, man! Don't worry, Chinese bamboo is very strong. Ah!
That when you plant and you water, nothing seems to happen. And another year happens and nothing. And you keep watering and you keep watering. And after 4 years, nothing happens. So you start to get frustrated. You might give up. You might stop watering this plant. But if you were to dig beneath the surface, beneath the soil, you would see a complex root structure form. It is alive. It is growing. It is building the foundations. Then on year 5, suddenly it sprouts. And it grows quicker than you can imagine, because it has the foundations, it has the nutrients available to it to support its growth, and it shoots up. One of the fastest growing plants on the planet. And yet it started slower than everything else. And it was necessary. We view our life through our reality through a lens of definite moments of happening, not realizing that the process that leads to it is fundamentally important. And almost all growth, all change works this way, the gradually that is happening and then the suddenly that happens. As you're learning a new skill, as you're learning a new process, you are gathering information pits, information that starts to build an image. And more you just see random dots appear. The image isn't become clear, but after a certain moment, the form shapes. It becomes recognizable. You can start to see and you can start to do. There is a threshold of connection within the brain in which, once reached, suddenly patterns form. But until that moment, it's just random information. And so don't quit. Keep gathering that information, because if you are not putting in the work during the gradually stage, the suddenly just is delayed. It is necessary. There is no epiphany moment without the work, the hardship. So in those points in which you think, I don't want to do this, I struggle to do this, what's the point? I'm not seeing any results. I'm seeing the results of the others. They don't seem to be working so hard and they're getting it anyway. They have, you just don't see the gradually. We only view the suddenly, and social media only promotes the suddenly. It only promotes the suddenly. And so we live our lives expecting the suddenly. If you are putting in the work, you are in the gradually. You are heating the ice, you are watering the roots, you are becoming the foundations of the individual that's about to blossom. You cannot force suddenly, you can only respect gradually.
It's the first brick laid in the quiet. No one watching. It's the 10th rep, the 100th word, the process. The runway's long, you're building speed, but still you're on the ground. Just the rumble of the engine, not a single other sound. You feel like you're making no progress, just pushing on a wall. Just a pixel on a black screen, waiting for the call. Every lesson is a circuit, every failure's a connection. You're building up the landscape in the darkness, no direction. Or so you think.
And then the flower blooms, it happens in a flash. The silent, steady pressure that results in the crash. The plane lifts, it defies the pull of doubt. The moment that the picture forms and you finally make it out. The creep you never notice is the reason for the growth. You were building up the tension, now you're reaping for them both. Gradually, then suddenly, the only way it's ever been. The world can see the finish line, but not where you begin.
And they'll call it overnight success. They'll call it luck and chance. They see the confident performance, not the terrified first dance. They see the solid oak tree, but they never saw the seed. They never saw the seasons that you had to fight and bleed. Every single suddenly is built on years of slow. Every takeoff has a runway where you weren't allowed to go. It's the compound interest of the soul, the exponential truth, the silent dedication of your unrewarded youth.
So when you're on that runway and the lift ain't coming yet, and every fiber in your being is screaming with a regret, that's the test. Take the test. That's the final stage of gradual.
Don't you dare quit till it's actual. Move one more step till it's factual.
Because the flower blooms